Good afternoon. My phone is trying to, my holder, should I say, is trying to throw my phone off. Okay. Um, Happy Saturday. How's everyone doing? If you're watching this as a replay, thank you for doing so, and I hope that you'll continue to watch throughout the entire video or live stream if you're here as part of the live stream. But anyways, I am crafting again. I actually wanted to come up here and fix my flowers that I wear on my hat, because this one I did not glue it down good enough. So not only am I going to be fixing this, but I my hubby and I were tearing up. Oh, there it goes again. Half a day, Ma. How's it going? Thank you for joining. As I was just saying, I'm going to try and repair my my flower for my hat, and then I'm going to create more resin products. But the hubby and I were tearing up the loft to go through and find more of my resin supplies. And because one of the things I was trying to find was the rest of my stuff that I use to create my beach scenes. Not only do I have natural sand, I've got blue sand, and I forgot what the other colors were. But it's stuff that would help me create beach scenes on different stuff. Like this is a wood. And I started this on my last live stream, and I never took a picture of it, but whoops. But I was trying to make a smaller version of my beach scene in a shell. And this is using one that we actually, when we were walking along the beach, this is actually one of the shells that the hubby and I found. This is something that we like to do whenever we go to the beach. Most of the beaches we've been to have been somewhere along the lines of Myrtle Beach, but I did create another beach scene in this shell. Mama, how are you? If you're still there. But yeah, so this is just, yeah. Well, lucky you. I can only enjoy videos from and pictures from when we've been to the beach. But yeah, so like I said, I turned one of the shells that we found into my mini beach scene. It can be simply decorative, I mean, for this size, I would think that you would want to let this be more of a decorative piece. But the ones that I've done in the larger shells, not only can it be decorative, but it can be functional. You know, you can put your jewelry in it at the end of the day, you know, throw stuff in there or whatever, because the resin, it does create a hard cover on top. So it's durable. Hey, Wendy, how are you? Thank you for popping in. But so once again, just to show that one. And I like these shells because this one specifically, it is very thick. I don't know if you can see just how thick this shell is, but it is very thick. So I had that one. Now, also again, if you were in my last crafting video, not the one Yes, the one with tornado. I used my homemade mold to make latte stones. And I didn't show that one. I didn't do a short video with the reveal of how it came out because I'm not happy. What I was afraid of happened because I did use chunky glitter before it was thick enough. I'm just going to give you guys a quick peek. Hey, Olivia, good afternoon. How are you? There it is. What I was afraid of with the chunky glitter, it ended up settling at the bottom. So yeah, I wasn't happy with it. And that's why I didn't do a reveal on that one. Because when working with resin, especially if it's going to be a thick piece like that, using chunky glitter, you want to do it in layers. So I should have done a thin layer first, let that practically harden, not harden, but get thick enough that even when I do add chunky glitter, it's not going to sink. Because in the molds, the items are sitting face down. So it goes in, it's like this. So what you're seeing is actually the back side, which will be the top while it's in the mold. And then as you pull it out, that is the actual front side that you'll be seeing. But like I said, wasn't happy. But what I'm going to do with the resin today is I've got my two round pieces, which this size actually creates this paperweight. Thank you. What is that? Arlo, thank you. Did I say that right? Yes, I appreciate that. So what I'm planning on doing, what I'm going to try and do, I already mixed a small amount of resin. And whenever you're dealing with resin, you want to make sure it's nice and incorporated and mixed in there, but it also creates bubbles. You guys can see the bubbles there. You want to try and let that sit. But I am going to add just a little bit of glitter to it. Just a little bit, just a little bit. And what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to pour a little bit of resin in here. And then I'm going to stick one of the flowers that I put together. And I'm going to stick that in there. And then I'm going to be pouring more resin on top of that. So eventually, once this fully hardens and I demold it, it'll come out like this, but with the flower sitting inside of it. That's the plan. That is the plan. So, because this one is deeper, I do have to pour enough to let it sit, let it thicken a little bit more, because if I put this in too early where it's still very liquidy, even though it's not heavy, it could still settle a little bit too close to the bottom, and I don't want that. I want there to be just a little bit of space from the top and the flower. And so the smaller one, I am going to do a small version of it, and because I do have a smaller flower, my pink one. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pour a little resin in there, let it thicken up a little bit more before I add this. Now this one fits the mold perfectly, so there's probably not going to be too much space between the flower and the top of this. But as I pour the rest of the resin, it is going to, weigh it down a little bit more. And I'm probably going to have to stick something on top of this to make sure, see how it's, and I don't even have the resin in there yet, but to make sure nothing is poking out. If you guys can see that stuff is poking out, we don't want that. I want the stuff to try and stay below. I might have to cut it. anything that's going to cause an issue. And this is going to be the bottom anyways, so it's okay if it's not pretty. All right, let's see if that works now. So I cut a little bit more of the petals. So there, the petals don't stick out as much. It's a non-pokeball. Hey, Tornado, good afternoon. Yes, I'm doing a little bit more crafting. So I wasn't happy with the way I don't know if you saw that or not. I wasn't happy with the way my Laddie Stone came out. The chunky glitter did come to the bottom, which is the front. So not pretty, not pretty. All right. So let's go ahead and pour. I'm going to pour a little bit. Here we go. Don't mind the mess. And I used to have a lamp in here. I don't know if my daughter took it or if I moved it somewhere else and I just don't know where it is. But to be able to make it brighter in here, I don't know where that lamp went. Because it's not as bright in here as it should be. And I don't know what I do with it. All right, so let's go ahead and pour a little bit in here. And a little bit in here. I'm going to pour a little bit, just a tiny, tiny, tiny amount. This is the pink glitter. And then I want to put just a tiny amount of blue in this one. Come on. Trying to get it all to the front without dropping too much in there. And then mix it up just a little bit. I really need to find my spread that around. All right, so now while I'll be watching it and I'll be taking the flame to it every now and then because it's going to help pop the bubbles. Probably going to put just a little bit. No, I think that's good. I just need to make sure I stay on top of helping the glitter move around. So ultimately, once I create a little bit of space right there at the very top of this, of the mold at least, then I'm going to add the flower into it. And then this one here, I created a a dark space underneath, but I think for these pieces, I am going to keep them fairly clear because I do want that light effect. I do want to be able to put it on one of my light bases, and so I don't know if you guys can see that it's moving. So this light base not only has the light, and it changes lights, different colors, but it turns. So when I make, hey Corey, good afternoon. So when I make this one, that's ultimately what I want to do, because I don't want it to be a dark base, because then the light's not going to shine through. Thank you. I'm actually making two different ones now. That one I used a sticker. On these two here, it's going to be flowers that I'm going to stick in them. And while I'm waiting for these to thicken up just a little bit before I put these in there, I'm going to see about repairing this one, because it's already starting to come up a little bit. So I got to add more glue to this one. And I do have a little bit more of resin. So I think what I'm going to do, let's see. I want the latte stone. Where'd that other piece go? I'm just trying to see what else I can pour the resin into. I do have a shell mold that I could use, but no. Let's see. Trying to see what else. Now this is a latte stone that I made quite a while ago, a few years ago. With this one here, I did that process where I did it in two parts. I did a layer that was clear. I laid down some stickers in it before I laid down more resin on top of that. In hindsight, because you know the sticker was blue, the letters are black, I probably shouldn't have used a dark color as the background on this one here. So but it says half a day, which is how we say hello in Guam. So half a day. Thank you to everybody who's popped in. Say hi, don't be shy, and let me know where you're watching from. I am currently live streaming to y'all from Texas. So this box right here is a box of other goodies, other stuff that I've done. So really I should have done something like that with a light background. So this is another latte stone. It says half a day again. But this time I did do the first layer was clear, and then I painted that so it's not see-through like this. That's see-through. And on this one here I painted it all around. Is that the one from this one? Is it? Yeah. Yeah. So this mold right here creates a mini latte stone. And see, I did another flower one, but this one is a sticker. I just like it because the sticker is flat, but because with this paperweight, it creates that 3D effect. These are pretty cool. I've done the turtle one. See, I've got blue sand. I've got blue sand. I've got white sand. I did a turtle. I mean a turtle. This is the turtle beach scene. And then I also did the dolphin. But so I've got white sand. But for whatever reason, I cannot find it. Oh, and I did my Texas one. This one's on wood. But I did a Texas beach scene. That is really nice. I used to sell these kind of things. And this one I like. It was still using stickers that I created right here. And then this was the back side. I really like the back side on this one. I had basically taken some of the acrylic skin that I've created, and I would just lay it on at the very bottom of the mold. No, wait. No, I think on this one here, once I created the mold, I would lay this stuff on top of it, and then I just gave it a coat. Okay, all right. Let's see. All right, back in there you go. So I still have so now I still have a little bit of resin left. All right. Should I use the big one? No, I'm going to do the little one. I do have all right, let's see what we can do here. This is epoxy or resin dye. So we got blue. I think I'm going to do a purple. And then we got purple. Okay. No, Don't tell me it's, come on. Oh, don't tell me it dried onto the tip. Pooh. It's what happens when you let stuff sit. That's what happens. Then they are no good. Let me see if I can find my, there we go. So now I got my white glitter, and this is called Magic Purple. It's a shimmer type of stuff that you can put into your resin to color it. And there comes my, nope, Wicket. No. She's trying to come into the room. Okay. I want it kind of dark. So just a little bit more. And then give that a mix. Oh yeah, that's very dark. Look at that. Shimmery. But I might have to end up using the bigger mermaid tail mold. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of white glitter into this. Do I like working with glitter? Seems like it. I mean, the powder that I used to make the purple in this one, that type of powder already creates a sheen, but I like to have that sparkly stuff in there as well. All right, let's go ahead and pour it into this mermaid. Come on, get a little bit closer. Yeah, I'm glad I did the big mermaid tail. Filled to the rim. I still have a little bit of in there. I don't think it's going to be enough to make the mini one, but let's give it a try. It means I might have to scrape everything that's in there. All right. Okay, I take that back. Might have enough to do two. Trying to make sure it gets to all the corners of the mold. We don't want any empty spaces. All right. And I do reuse my stirring sticks. That's why some of them you'll see that it has paint on them. And most of the time I like working with my gloves because I do get a little bit of it on my hand. And depending on the resin that they can, you know, it's not good to have prolonged exposure to it. That's why I always wash and get that stickiness. And I do take flame to my resin molds to help pop the bubbles. The heat from the flame helps to pop the bubbles that are rising to the top as the resin is starting to settle and harden. I mean, for it to 100% cure, you're needing 20, depending on the size of the resin project that you're working on. You know, it can take 24 to 48 hours, but the bigger it is and the thicker it is, you definitely want more time because you want to make sure that in the thicker pieces of your project, it's going to be fully cured. So we got 2 mermaid tails. I've got my 2 dome paperweights, a bigger one and then a smaller version. And then I do have my small lattice stone starting to cure right now. With these two, I'm just waiting for it to thicken up enough for me to stick the flower in there, but still loose enough that it's not going to sit right on top of it. Yep, it's already starting to thicken. That's good. I'm just trying to swirl the glitter that I put in here. I think I'm going to add some white to this one. No, I'm not pouring a lot. It's just taking a minute for it to come to the front. All right, so I'm going to give this a little bit more. I guess I should have plugged it in, actually. I should have plugged in my glue stick. Uh-oh. Whoops. Nope. Nope. Come on. Hold on. There we go. I do have more space, but I like to just clutter everything into one small spot. All right, so let's just move you over. I'm going to move you up here. I still gotta wait for my glue gun to heat up. So I'm gonna see if I'm popping more bubbles. You don't want to take the flame or heat, whatever your heat source may be, too long, because even though silicone molds, you know, can take a lot of heat, it can still, you know, cause damage to it if you take the heat to it too long. So the pink one is going to go into this one, and the red and blue is going to go into this one. I don't think I've done what I'm about to do with these two paperweights before, at least not with this kind of flower. I've done the hard plastic flowers that you would find, you know, in earrings and whatnot. I've done that, not the softer type material. So what you guys are seeing is the first time I'm actually doing that. How it's going to come out, I hope, I really, really do hope that it's going to come out good. All right, let's see. Are you hot enough? Nope. So basically what I'm going to do with the small one, when I stick this in there, it's going to be, I'm going to wait for it to actually harden before I add the next layer. And the same thing with this. Once I stick that in there, I'm going to wait for it to harden, and then I'm going to add the next layer. What I'm really hoping with this one here, with both of them actually, that's the thing whenever you're working with resin and you're putting stuff into it, because you're having to put it in upside down, you're having very little control of air bubbles that are going to get stuck. So once I put this upside down, if there's going to be any air bubbles that get stuck in there, and that's the other reason why I'm not creating too much. I didn't put a lot of resin into them. It'll barely, if anything, at least for this one here, you know, to cover this part. And I'm hoping when I do add the next layer, which is probably for the bigger one, it's probably going to be a total of 3, maybe 4 layers on this one. So the demolding of at least these two will be a few days. With this one here, 2, maybe 3 layers, because this one will be fully submerged. Well, they both will. But this one fits the mold so much better than this one does. So this one here, 2, maybe 3 layers. And then this one here will probably be 4, with the last one just to create a solid base, like you would see there, just to create a solid base. I'm not going to make it dark. I'm not going to make it dark like this one is, because I want the light to be able to shine through from the bottom. And that's the other reason why I add glitter to it, because, you know, if there's anything shiny, if you put it on a light base like that, it just makes the glitter shine more. But again, if you're just popping in and you're wondering what I'm doing with the lighter to these pieces here, the heat from the lighter is popping any bubbles that come up to the surface. Okay, looks like it's hot enough for me to go ahead and add some more and I want to make sure that it's going to stick on there pretty good. Hot, hot. It's a good thing my top fingers are fine. It's just where my thumbs are. Because this part here, I feel the heat from the glue. But all I do is I have the alligator clip on it. So then that way I stick it onto the bill of my hat. And then I can change it up because I have a blue and red one, as you see. I have a red and white one, and then I have a pink and white one, which this is the one I'll be wearing today. That's why I wanted to fix it. All right, and easy enough. That's on there. That should stick with no problem. So now I can unplug this. That one is done. This one is done. All right. Okay, so I know the blue one's ready. Like I said, no judging here. No judging here. We're here to have fun, just to show some of the different things you can do with resin. All right. If you're just now popping in, I'm trying to create this effect. My paperweight, which is this size right here. This is a sticker that I have, a vinyl sticker that I have in there. But I'm actually using one of the a regular, you know, fake flower type thing. Where's that other? All right. Again, that's the thing when you're working with layers and things are upside down. Wish me luck. I hope I don't mess this up because I think this can come out really pretty. Probably should have added, I probably should have added more resin actually. So that's what I'm afraid of now. That I might have messed this one up. So because this one is deeper into the mold, yeah, I have to have some weight on this. So there we go. It's one of my mini latte stones that I have. It's a little wobbly, so I mean not wobbly, but it's, I mean it can stand on its own, but if I were to put anything on top of this, it will topple over. But look at that. Now I found something to help keep this down. Haha. I just hope I'm pressing it down good enough that it's pushed up. The resin is thick, but it still can move. So I'm hoping with the weight that I have on it that it's, you know, spreading the resin up a little bit to hold that flower in place. Now I wish I had two of this because I need to do the same thing with the pink one. Do I have something else? I can always just use something like that that has enough weight to it. All right, here we go. That's what I'm, because there's so much space in there that bubbles, air bubbles can get trapped. That's what I'm afraid of. All right, here we go. Yep, I definitely gonna need something to weigh this down. I need something with some weight to it. Well, that's a lot of weight. Might be too much weight. No. Question is it gonna stay balanced? No, that's not gonna work. I can always put this on top of it. This definitely has a lot of weight, but is it gonna be too much? Because see, it's still trying to come up. And I have something in that mold there, so. And I'm not going to sit here for a couple of hours because that's how long it'll take, a minimum of another few more hours just for this to harden enough that I don't have to hold it in place. Yeah, about that. Okay, let me see. Is this heavy enough? Okay. Let me see if the other one is heavier. No, that one's lighter. Yeah, that one's lighter. So I have one of my other molds, my finished pieces, holding it, weighing it down for the flower to stay in place. And tonight, when I'm done, before I go to bed, I'm going to be adding another layer to both of these. And then in the morning, I'll do the same again to add another layer. And just hopefully that works out. Because there's nothing like you get an idea in your head, and when you're creating, when you're crafting, you get an idea in your head, and when you're done, it doesn't come out the way you think. And I had, when I first started working with resin, and I'm looking at it right now, I had a basket, a huge basket of all my mess ups with the resin because I was practicing and just trying to get, even though I was watching YouTube University on how to do these things, you know, again, it just doesn't come out the way I imagined it would. So yeah. And that's the other thing with these two, I won't be able to pop any bubbles because it's not exposed. It's not until the later layers when I do that, that I can take, maybe, because the flower itself, I don't want to burn it. So when I create the other layers on this one, I'll just be using my heat gun, which is this guy. Come here. This guy. So whenever I start the other layers for the flower ones, I'll be using my heat gun to take that. What? What did I say or do? my heat gun. You like my heat gun? The mental image we hold in our mind sometimes doesn't match our finished products. That's how we live and learn in our crafts. True. Very true. Very true. Like I said, I have a lot of stuff working with resin. I mean, this, you'll know it's going to come out, I mean, even close to how I'm imagining it. The flowers um, in my paperweights, because then you guys will see a short video of the reveal. If it doesn't come out the way I'm hoping it will, then yeah, it'll be just something else that I move on to. um, but yeah, I told the hubby because we're going to be working late today for gig work. So we stayed home a little longer to do other things. And I told him, I said, I want to go craft and go live for a little bit, but we're going to be working late. So there's a chance, I can torture my hubby for about an hour to do another live stream later tonight. We'll see. I hope he won't mind. Because I got to work on these pesky watch hours. I'm still losing. As many hours as I'm gaining, doing the live streams and my long form videos, I'm losing even more. I mean, the battle that I did with Fran doing the dash off, I gained about 20 hours on that one. The crafting video that I did with Tornado a few days ago, I gained about 30 hours on that one. But I've, instead of going up, I'm still going down. So I have so many little crochet pieces that are just a little, what? A little knotted. I don't know what, when I try a new stitch or pattern, LOL, I save them, use them for stuffing. Well, there you go. So it still has its purpose. Mine are just sitting in a basket because it's resin. They're hard. Well, the mini Laddie Stone, this guy right here that's using, that I'm using to hold down the flower in one of the molds, that was actually, it came out somewhat what I thought, I wanted it to do, to be like a little tray, but it's not. That's why it's in my, in here, and I'm not using it because of the fact that it doesn't have enough of a base to where it'd be sturdy, and it's too small. I mean, you're talking about maybe the tiny earrings or your ring, just a single item that you can put on that. Hey, Colleen, good afternoon. So this is what I did. We did a little bit more crafting. So I had to fix my flower that goes on my hat because it was coming up. So I had to put more glue to that. But in these molds that you see here, this is the large one. And the idea is to create this effect. But that's a vinyl sticker in there. That's creating the 3D effect. But in there is one of these flowers. And then the one that's hiding under my other paperweight is going to be a smaller version. And I've got a pink flower sitting in that one. And then I have two mermaid tails sitting right here. And I got them in solid purple with some glitter to make it shimmer. But yeah, so like I said, this is what I'm trying to go for. But using well, it's not a real flower, but one of these type of flowers. It's not a sticker. And I'm just hoping that I'm not going to find a lot of bubbles right here, because this is how it sits in the mold. So I can't see the bottom right here. I can't do anything about that. But I'm going to be doing it in layers because that's how I did this one. I did this in layers. So I'm hoping that they will be decent enough that I'll be willing to show you guys. If not, the only thing I will end up showing probably as a post on my page are my mermaid tails. Because if these don't come out anywhere near the way I want them to, you're not going to see the end projects. So I need some positive vibes. I need some positive vibes that these guys are going to come out good enough to show you guys. You know, looking at my mermaid tails too, I can tell my desk, it's not leveled here because I see just a little bit more resin settling towards the tail. This one's fine. And sometimes especially in the bigger molds, what I'll end up doing if I have an issue like that, then I just take stuff and put it underneath the mold. Um, and then I'll, to create a little bit more. But this one's too thick. This one's too thick to do that. I just need to find a proper spot on the desk, on my table, that it evens out. Maybe I need to move it over here a little bit more because the small mermaid tail seems to be a little bit more leveled. Okay. All right. And then oh yeah, I forgot this guy. This is also going to be done in layers. So I don't know if I'm going to find a flower. Let me see. Where did I see those flowers? You see, when you're looking for something, you come across it, and then oh, there we go. I've stuck these kind of flowers. I've stuck these kind of flowers into resin, and I created jewelry. So right now it is thick enough that I can probably... it's not hard enough. It's starting to kind of sink. But that's okay. That's okay. There still should be enough resin between what's going to be the front of the lattice stone and the flower. All right. So I got a white one. I got a blue one in there. Should I put a pink one? What should be... so I got a white one. I've got a blue one in here. I want to put one more. Should I do a pink, a purple? This is also a different shade of purple. So I got a pink, purple, and I do got a different shade of pink. So I got the light pink. I got the darker pink. I'm trying to see. I want to do... let me do the darker pink. Okay. So this will have another layer. And I think what I might end up doing for a second layer, I'm probably going to do one more thin layer of clear coat of the clear resin. And then for this one here, the final layer will be, it won't be a dark color like that. I made this kind of like a dark purple, but I might do, I just might do a thicker layer of a mix of different glitter. We'll see. Or I might do a solid background. I might do a solid black, blue, not a dark blue, but more of or a light blue, but kind of like this color. It'd be more of like that color that I'll use as a solid background for this one. All right, so now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 resin projects to work on. Well, these guys are done. This I can demold as early as tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. So these guys are done. They just need to continue hardening. Like I said, depending on the size of your project when you're working with resin, will determine how long it actually needs to sit to fully cure so it can harden. Because if I were to take this out even by tonight, like 10 hours or 12 hours later, I could take it out, but I would still be able to just ever so slightly bend it. And because where the tail is, that is a narrow spot, and I don't want that, because then it could break off right there. So that's why you want to make sure your resin piece is a minimum of 24 hours to cure. It's going to be hard, but I'll still be able to so slightly bend it right there if I were to try and demold it tonight. So tonight, I'm going to add a layer. Tomorrow morning, I'll add the final layer to this one, the final layer to the small flower, and then this one I won't be able to add another layer until probably tomorrow night, because the bigger one is going to take 3 to 4 layers before it's done. So at the minimum, what is today? Saturday. So you guys might be able to see something as early as Tuesday, maybe. So we'll see. We will see. But that's all I have right now. Like I said, hopefully when the hubby and I get out there to do some gig work, we will, what do you call that? Maybe I might do another short live stream. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching, for hanging out, and, you know, seeing my crafting abilities, or maybe. Until then, y'all stay safe. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Adios for now. Bye.